What's going on, Internet? Brandon and Jasmine here from nerdlocker.com, and we've got comic book news and reviews for you.
Aw, yeah.
I'm stoked. What's going on, guys? Brandon here with some comic reviews for you this week. First off, I got Beauty #1 from Image. It's part of their pilot season run that they do, and it was surprisingly interesting. It takes place in a world where there is a new STD called the Beauty, and it actually, when you catch it, makes you younger and better looking. I mean, not physically, like age-wise younger, but you look better, you look sexy and beautiful. But people still forget that it is a disease, and it looks like the first major death is caused by this, and they're trying to figure out everything. As it turns out a couple characters actually have this STD, and I'm actually, really wanting to see if they have an issue too. I will definitely vote for this for the pilot season. I'm gonna give it 4 to 5 Nerd Skulls. Next up, I got Hulk #1. Little disappointed with this. Looks like you got the Hulk living underground with some of the mole men creatures, and him and Banner are separated, which sounded cool, but the delivery kind of had me just, I don't know. I'm not really digging this. It looks like Banner's going to be the bad guy, and he's not the Bruce Banner we're used to. He's a crazy mad scientist person looking to recreate the Hulk, but I thought he's always wanted to be separated from the Hulk, so I don't know. I'm only going to give this 2 out of 5 Nerd Skulls. My last review this week is the hardcover Flashpoint book. DC actually sent this to us, and I've been waiting to pick this up in hardcover because this is one of my favorite stories in the past couple of years that DC has put out. And it's cool to actually sit down and read through the whole story. You got all the cover gallery stuff. You got a couple sketches. Like I said, one of my favorite stories DC has put out in the years I've been reading. 5 out of 5 Nerd Skulls. Add this hardcover to your collection. And stay tuned to Nerd Locker because we will actually be giving the hardcover away to one of you.
Hey there, nerds. Jasmine here with my comic reviews for the week. First up is one of my favorite books ever. It's Little Depressed Boy #7, and it was, again, really awesome. I love this book. It is just a sweet story about a depressed guy and the things that he goes through as not being the most attractive man in the room, and I love it because it's sort of realistic, and a lot of people are like that. And it's just well written and well drawn, and it's just so different, and I love this book. I love this book. This issue, they are trying to make it to a concert in a different city, and they've been held up for the past couple of issues, so they finally make it to hear the last few lines of the last song of the set. So check it out. I loved it. You get little hints of humanity there, and it's great. I'm going to give it 5 out of 5 Nerd Skulls. Next up is DC Comics' New Guardians #2. I was blown away with the first issue because it's Kyle Rayner getting a ring and then getting all the rings, and you're freaking out and trying to figure out what's going on. And this issue is no different. Every lantern from every corps that has a stolen ring comes to find him except for one, and that is the Orange Lantern Corps. No one knows where Larfleeze is, and they assume him to be dead, which would kill me inside if Larfleeze died because he is hilarious and probably one of the greatest characters ever written into the DCU. Going back to the comic, though, they actually end up traveling, Kyle Rayner and a Blue Lantern travel to Oa, which is now restricted to everyone who isn't a Green Lantern, and it sort of seems like Ganthet has lost his soul. And they try to attack him and figure out why he has all these rings, and then he transforms. And you're like stuck trying to figure out what happened, and he has this cool new black suit, and it's great. You gotta read this book. I loved it. I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5 Nerd Skulls. Next up is Stitched. It is written by Garth Ennis, and guess who does the covers? None other than my favorite person in the comic book industry, Mike Wolfer. And the covers are pretty awesome, so I'm just gonna leave them alone. This book was actually great. It was a weird mix of what would happen if Afghani soldiers went down in the middle of the desert and something that wouldn't bump in the night came after them during the middle of the day. And it's great. It's well written, obviously. It's just gory enough, and it's not going too far, and it just sums itself up. It could be a movie. And speaking of which, they actually made a movie, and it's written and directed by Garth Ennis, and apparently it's pretty bad, but I'm going to watch it and give you a review, and it's going to be great either way. I'm going to give the comic, however, 4 out of 5 Nerd Skulls. Check it out if you like gore, horror, any of those things. It's great.
Hey guys, Bobby here with my comic reviews for the week, and my first one is going to be Red Wing #4. It is also the conclusion to the series. You remember last time I was talking about how it's a little bad because you have to remember what was going on in the last issue a lot, and there's a lot of vocabulary that you have to remember. It was one thing I definitely hated about the book. Otherwise, it was a really good time travel story, and I loved every other minute about it. This time I had the opportunity to read the first 3 issues before I delve into 4 again. And I have to say, it was one of the best books I've read all year. I loved it, loved every minute of it. Amazing time travel that I've never seen before in my life. It's awesome. You guys all should be checking out this book. I'm going to give this book overall 4 out of 5 Nerd Skulls. My second comic review for the week is going to be The Walking Dead number 90. This is a big issue because of its number, but not a lot happens as far as drama. You know, with the last issue, it ended with Rick and all of the surviving members of the original cast pretty much raising guns to everybody in the community that they now live in, which kind of led me to believe that there would be a lot of animosity within the group, but they immediately canceled all that out in the first few pages of number 90. Rick explains that he's not here to hurt anybody. Everyone agrees, and they move on. The biggest thing is the last page. Big change in relationship between 2 main characters, and it blew me away. I didn't see it coming. Really has me worried going forward because I just don't know how that's going to work, but I'm very interested. I want to read 91. I think you guys would love to read this too. I'm going to give it 4 out of 5 Nerd Skulls. My third and final review for the week is going to be the Mighty Thor number 7. This was the start of a whole new arc because of Mighty Thor 6 ending with Fear itself. This new storyline starts off with a big bang because it goes to the past and tells you all about Odin and his 3 brothers and how they came up and how Odin actually became the Allfather. Very interesting background. I did not know any of this, so it was really cool to read it anew for myself, so I definitely recommend it. I'm going to give this book as well 4 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
Steven here. Start off, we've got Wolverine and the X-Men. It's, as you know, probably Schism happened. Wolverine and splitting up to leave the X-Men and start his own form, which is with the school and everything. Starting back up Xavier Schools, but not called Xavier School instead of Jean Grey. It was really good. I don't like the art style, though, because I like more kind of a realistic look, and this kind of has more cartoonized style. Not a fan of that, but I loved the story, how it was developing, how it was showing the different parts of the school, and also the little twist at the end. It was really cool, brought in some cool action while still getting the idea, the feel of how the school is going to work. And the best part of all, though, is they have the little extra stuff at the end, like a little list of all the students and like little pictures from all the instructors, their position. Even better, a list of the classes offered. My favorite one is World History, 1850 to 1960. An eye view account with Headmaster Logan. It's these cool little things that like tie into each professor's personality, each what you know about the X-Men, but tying it to kind of a school thing that's just, it's so funny, and I love it so much because it takes it to a next level of humor. And so, not even putting that into account, just the storyline, I give it a 4 out of 5. Next one up is The Vault number 3. This is a story of like a treasure underground that has like a mysterious curse, and oh no, the curse has been opened up. It's exactly that. It's like a storyline that's been done before, and so I was hoping for some kind of twist with what the monster is going to be or how it's going to work out, and it's just the same thing. I mean, the monster does look different because it's kind of like an extended skeleton kind of thing, but it still is just the same old thing, even using lines that have been used before, the glitching ending that's been used before. I feel it, well, it looks so good and it has potential. It's just a comic book version of what you've seen 1,000 times before, so I'm only going to give it a 2 out of 5.
Hey guys, Haley here with my comic review of the week, and it is going to be Gladstone's School for World Conquerors number 6. I'm going to be honest with you, I'd never read an issue before, and I was really, really happy with it. It's really enjoyable. It reminded me a bit of the Umbrella Academy, but almost the exact opposite, where it was about villain kids, but they had a heart. It was really funny. For someone who didn't know about it, it was really easy for me to follow, and I loved the art, and it just kind of felt like I was reading a cartoon. So I really enjoyed it. I'm going to give it 4 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
Hey there guys, Cubby here with my comic reviews for the week. My first one, Butcher Baker number 7. Now, I have seen this book kind of floating around a while in the comic book shop on our image stuff that we usually get, and it seemed pretty interesting. I just never really gave it a shot. And so I figured, what the hey, let's jump in the middle of a story pretty much. And actually, it was awesome. It's kind of just a kinetic, hyperactive story where there's a ton of panels going, there's a million things going on, 2 different plot lines that are actually intertwined, and it's fast-paced, and it's hyper-violent, but not too hyper-violent. Like it pulls back and doesn't show you everything. It was actually a really, really interesting book. It was written by Joe Casey, so that kind of gave me a little hope. I was really, really excited on it, and I got to give it 3.5 Nerd Skulls, and that's kind of being harsh on it. It deserves more, probably. My second review, it's Aquaman Number 2. This was a really anticipated book for me. I was really stoked on this entire series starting. The second issue, even better than the first. The first one was awesome, and it kind of set Aquaman up as being this great human character that's like torn between his 2 worlds, but shunning one and accepting the other. This is kind of like him being forced to deal with a problem from his other world and still trying to like adapt to living in only the land. It's really awesome. It was really gory, not in a bad way. It was gory, cool, and like surprisingly so. It was intense. These creatures from the trench are nothing to mess around with, and Aquaman knows that, and he's not letting them slip by him. So it's really cool to see him actually doing some badass stuff. Mara doing some awesome stuff too. I can't wait for this issue or for this series to keep going, and all I can say is it deserves 5 Nerd Skulls. All right, guys, my final book this week was The Flash Number 2, and ever since the series restarted, I've been really, really excited on it. The first issue was a little underwhelming. As much as I liked it, as much as I did enjoy it, it didn't give me everything The Flash has been giving me for the past couple of years. This issue definitely amped it up, though. His fighting style has greatly changed. He kind of realizes, he goes to a scientist friend, and he tells him he could actually probably be using more of his powers. Or he has more powers than he really knows. That's the way that he words it. And he kind of like uses his perception better, uses his brain more, thinks faster, which is actually a really, really cool thing that they never really brought into The Flash, and he's going with it. I'm really excited to see where Francis Manapul can take this, because I really didn't think that he can introduce new elements to The Flash. I thought he was just going to draw a pretty book and write some interesting, fun stories with Captain Cold. So far, I haven't seen Captain Cold. The stories have been very interesting and very thought-provoking towards The Flash as a character, and I cannot wait to see where this goes, as with Aquaman, as with pretty much everything DC is doing. So I got to give this also 5 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
All right, guys, that is it for Comic Reviews and Reviews this week. But until next week, follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
And we'd also like to send a special thank you to one of our sponsors,